Yeah. So anytime somebody says the price measured in fiat dollars, I almost cringe because it tells me they're reinforcing a world that is based on stealing money, based on essentially value not going to where it should go through the free market force, and that construct that they're living in is reinforcing and making their entire lives worse.
Crypto fam, welcome back to the channel. Aaron from the Bitcoin Bros here. And as you just saw in that clip, Jeff Booth saying that if you're not invested in the Bitcoin, it will make your life worse. And you shouldn't really be worried about the price of BTC. And he's going to be talking about that in today's clip. He's also going to be talking about how artificial intelligence plays into part with Bitcoin and how AI is actually going to help Bitcoin in the long run. And he also talks about whether you should be buying real estate right now or you should be buying Bitcoin. He gives all of his thoughts. This is from a recent interview he did over on Natalie Brunell's channel. Shout out to her. There's definitely a lot of useful information. You guys should watch this one to the end. If you guys want to check out our Patreon for our exclusive content and trade signals that the Bitcoin Bros do, you can check that out. That will be in the comment section below. But let's go ahead and see what Jeff has to say in today's video.
So I see Bitcoin very different than most people do, and it attaches to virtually every kind of from there everything else. And you know from my book that you could simplify the entire book and essentially the natural state of the free market is deflation, and technology would make that deflation happen at a way faster rate, at an exponential rate. And that deflation shouldn't be feared, because what it actually is the productivity flowing to us so that we can live abundant lives and do what we want. So that's the natural state of the market. And that means anything that stops that, not from zero inflation, but from the implied rate of deflation, which would today be probably -5 or -6%, anything that stops that is not an economic system. It's not a political system. It's a control system that gains its strength from stealing from you. And so once you understand that that is true, and I haven't found one person to debate me on that, the natural state of a free market is deflation. So once that you know that that is true, then as a derivative, everything else from the existing system is stealing from you. The political system, as we get locked into who's better at stealing from you, that's really what you're arguing. Who gets the benefits of this theft that comes from you in the end? And so Bitcoin stands as the only thing that I've found that I've been able to that can protect you from that. And it stands, and it's that because it's not a coin. It's a protocol bounded by energy. It's an open, decentralized, and secure protocol bounded by energy. And it doesn't care if you want to price it through currency or through pieces of paper that are being manipulated. It doesn't care. It just keeps on moving forward. So relative to Bitcoin, all prices are falling and will forever, because it's the only free market force that is in existence, and everything tethered to the other system is not. It's a control system. If you're measuring Bitcoin from a system that has gained all of its wealth, and actually I would even say gained its wealth, protected its wealth from financialization of assets, including stock market, and if you're on top of that, and you've seen financialization, and you think financialization is the free market, then you're likely to see Bitcoin and see, how do I financialize more things and prices that keep going up? And most of our economy, or a lot of the majority, is now financialization. And but all of those things, and I can just do a simple equation, and in Bitcoin, in my house was $1.4 million 4 years ago. It's now $2.1 million in fiat pieces of paper, but relative to Bitcoin, it was 300 Bitcoin 4 years ago, and now it's 20. At today's price, 26 Bitcoin. And so, in 4 years, my house will be worth 2 Bitcoin. And so, if you want to take your Bitcoin to buy a house because you want the house now, That makes sense, but realize you're overpaying because of the financialization for the house, because the house relative to Bitcoin is falling to its utility value, like all things will in the free market. Just take AI as an invention by us, created to serve us. It's a tool. And it's a free market tool that gets better and better over time. And relative to Bitcoin, it means all prices are falling faster to the marginal cost of production. Relative to the other system, you're going to see prices, they have to climb, and they have to, and as they climb, there is no free market when money is manipulated at this rate. So because the money is, so that means, and I'm going to back up because this is so important. Just keep saying, like, over and over and over again, the natural state of the free market is deflation. And once you understand that, then you understand everything else is stopping it. And if you think your prices are going up, and if you think this politician and this is going to be growth, like, listen to politicians talk about growth today. They're talking about their productivity growth is faster deflation. So what they're actually talking about is, we're going to manipulate money faster to steal more money from you. Mm-hmm. They're not talking about growth at all. So just keep going. The natural state of the free market is deflation. Then everything that stops it is not a political system. It's not an economic system. It's a control system. And it's so critical. Now, why that's important in AI is, as AI moves faster and faster, which it inevitably will, exponentially, and it merges with robots that can do anything that you can do way better, faster. The business that hires that brings in robots that you say you won't use because they're removing labor, you will use because it's cheaper for you. You will use it. And if a business doesn't use that, they will go broke because you will choose differently. So if your choices are driving this to lower and lower prices, shouldn't you benefit in an economic system that is repricing that and sharing that abundance with all people on earth? That's what Bitcoin is doing. So Bitcoin is, and if you just took kind of $900 trillion balance sheet, which is the world's balance sheet today, and there's 21 million Bitcoin, then the implied value, as long as it stays decentralized and secure, of Bitcoin is about $43 million per Bitcoin today. But that $900 trillion, because you just 900 trillion divided by 21 million, all it has to do is stay decentralized and secure for in time that to be true. It's repricing the other system. But $900 trillion balance sheet today has $400 trillion of debt against it. And that debt is already insolvent. And if it was actually marked to market, the balance sheet of the world wouldn't be 900 trillion. You'd have a cascading collapse. All real estate prices, banks would fail, everything would collapse. Mm-hmm. So the only reason it's 900 trillion, essentially what you're measuring the world through, and you're part of that ledger, the only reason it's 900 trillion is because you think the debt is solvent, and you will vote for somebody who manipulates money instead of allowing a collapse. What does that mean? That means probably 4 or 5 years from now, the $900 trillion balance sheet won't be 900 trillion. It would be 2 quadrillion. And then if Bitcoin versus that balance sheet and the cost of living from there was 90 million terminal value of Bitcoin, it would be the same purchasing power, right? But the more important part is what I'll say here. Prices fall forever. So relative to Bitcoin, your $43 million purchasing power and terminal value today buys more and more forever, because prices will fall relative to it forever. So as a general case, if you just say, how much do I own of the ledger, the 900 trillion today, and make sure you own at least that in Bitcoin. And then as you start to understand this more, you start to understand what's happening, start to move some of your time from the system that's co-opting your attention to the system that's uniting people and building to truth, hope, and abundance. And you'll find yourself more happier as you do that, because it's consistent where we are going as a society.